to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to DolphinsTalk.com. My name is Andrew Hefner, and unfortunately, JJ could not be joining us for the pregame show today, but I have Vince Marino, another resident of the South Florida area, and he's going to be talking Dolphins with us all morning long to get you prepared for the Raiders at Dolphins, 1 o'clock at Hard Rock. So it's definitely going to be a fun game today, but before we get started, let's just hear a quick word from our sponsor, Caneswear. Let's roll that real quick.
The DolphinsTalk.com podcast network is sponsored by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive, Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. Not in South Florida? No worries. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home, and they'll ship it to you. International fans, too. Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com.
All right, let's talk some Dolphins football. So as we know, last week they finally got their first win in a while and a much-deserved win over the Rams on Monday Night Football. We didn't get to have our pregame show or a debrief for that one since it was on the Monday, but this is going to be a whole new game. We have definitely an interesting team in the Raiders. They're 2-7. They have not been great, but the Dolphins 3-6 also have not necessarily shown up yet this season, and it's going to be around 80 degrees down there in South Florida. So hopefully this turns into a pretty good matchup out there. Vince, let me just get your thoughts on last week's matchup real quick. Of course, we know that they finally got their first win. We saw some different coaching style from Mike McDaniel, which was definitely needed. And, of course, we also saw that Tua Tagovailoa was finally starting to get into the hang of it again, and it ended in a big win for the Miami Dolphins. So what do you think, Vince?
I think it really starts with Tua. If Tua doesn't do good, the whole team messes up. So I really do think Tua doing good really led to the Dolphins' win last week against the Rams. The Rams have been doing good these last 2 years, especially they made the playoffs, lost to the Lions though. But I'm going to say this right now, the Dolphins look really good last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull out with a win against the Raiders.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tua. We definitely saw that different play style from him, and he's kind of figuring out how to work with this new offense that Mike McDaniels is trying to create, especially since he's kind of been figured out by the other coaching staffs in football so far. We saw a lot more scrambles out of the pocket, and he tried to extend plays, which is definitely going to be a big X factor for him this week, especially with Max Crosby constantly lining up against him, and that may cause some issues. But he hasn't necessarily gotten the hang of it yet, because last week he also was sacked 2 times and had a fumble that was lost while he tried to scramble out of the pocket. So, he's starting to get the idea of what he needs to do for this new age of the Dolphins, but I don't think that he's quite got it yet. In terms of defense, Vince, it's definitely looked a lot better, especially last week. We have 2 dual threat wide receivers with the Rams, and we kind of kept them in check, and I'm happy with what we saw. So what do you think, especially for that secondary that struggled a ton against the Cardinals? What adjustments do you think were made for the Rams game, and how are they going to adjust going into now this game this week?
Well, I think it really does start with the defense. Look, the Dolphins' defense has been really bad. And coming into the season, I really did think that the Dolphins' defense was going to be amazing. Anthony Weaver coming in as a defensive coordinator, I thought he was going to do a good job. Really did improve it. Really did improve it throughout these these weeks. But I'm going to say this right now. The secondary looked a lot better. Anthony Walker, though, 6 assists, 3 solo tackles, an interception. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And let's say what's up to David in the chat. Dolphins play well against bad teams. Win is likely today. Hopefully that will be true because again, that will put them in a much better position than 3-6. The difference between 3-6 and 4-6 is crazy. So this is definitely a much needed game today. And you mentioned that the Dolphins defense played well, and a lot of that can be credited to Anthony Weaver, who last week put on a show with a defense that, one, has a lot of injuries, two, is rattled up after losing to the Cardinals in like the last 2 minutes of that game, which certainly
Don't
wasn't
remind
fun.
me, Andrew. Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Which certainly wasn't fun to watch. So I liked the adjustments that he made. And we've been saying a lot of the issues with the Dolphins this year lie on the coaching staff. So I'm happy that Anthony Weaver was praised for that game. And hopefully he shows up again this week. Back to the offense. Injuries with the offensive line. And we'll mention this later when we get to the Dolphins injury report. We have multiple guards out, star guards out again this week, which is not going to be great. Tua Tagovailoa coming back from major injuries, which have involved him getting sacked a lot. The offensive line never improved. And I think last week, there's no real credit to the offensive line. It's just that Tua was figuring out how to work with this O-line that has no idea what they're doing, that has no skill whatsoever. We know that the amount of sacks that they've given up has been detrimental to this team, and that's one of the major issues, especially when Tua was also out. So I think that needs to be tightened up again this week. And like I said, and I'm going to keep mentioning this name throughout this episode, Max Crosby is going to be an issue.
But listen, Andrew, let me just point this out. Scrambling will not be a key factor in this game. Max Crosby is going to kill Tua if he does that. I'm telling you right now, we will see another concussion if that happens. And I'm telling, we do not want that to happen. I mean, really, we know how bad we play without Tua and with Tua. Obviously we play better with Tua, but still, we haven't been capable enough to win. That's not get hurt again. That's just not get hurt again. That's not what we need.
Yeah, and I think that he needs to be smart about how he plays this game, and I just think that whatever the O-line was hopefully doing to work out this week, especially the backups, because there's going to be a lot of them playing today with the injuries. Hopefully they've started to try to figure out what to do. And lastly, though, back to the defense, maybe we should have put this in a different order, but Jalen Ramsey was definitely back in full force last week, and that's huge to see because he struggled against guarding Marvin Harrison in that Cardinals game, and I was happy to see that he showed up against the Rams, especially with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua always being right in front of him. So I'm definitely happy with what I saw from him. Again, the defense last week was just absolutely amazing, and the offense started to figure out how to go with them. So I'm happy with that. Final thoughts about last week, Vince?
No, I think the defense is the key. The reason why we won that game is because of the defense, and defense is the most important thing in football. I don't care about the quarterback. I don't care about the receiver. It's defense. Defense wins you championships, and everyone says that, and it's true. So I do really think without the defense, this Dolphins team isn't good. Coming into the year, I really did think they were going to be amazing. Again, they've been playing okay, not to expectations, but I do think as of going into this week, I think we should be okay. I just think the offense really needs to get back on track because the defense did their part.
Yeah, definitely. Let's head to the breakdown of the Raiders because they are definitely a team that we need to take a second to unpack because we saw last year the beginning of a new reign when it comes to coaching, an entirely new coaching staff, new QB. They had a ton of guys left, and more recently, they had a star wide receiver left. So leave. So let's dive in to the Raiders. Let's start with the injury updates, though. They have multiple backup tight ends out this week, but of course that's not going to matter because Brock Bowers is going to be the guy out there taking the snaps anyway. Cornerback Nate Hobbs is going to be out. Center Andre James is out, and guard Cody Whitehair are all out. And I believe this might not 100% be true. I'm pretty sure they're all out with ankle injuries, which I don't know what's going on with the Raiders training staff, if that actually is the case.
Oh yeah, you're correct, actually.
So that might be a bit of an issue. And of course, Aiden O'Connell is on the IR as he's been for most of the start of this season. So Gardner Minshew, a name that some people might not have heard in a little bit will be the starting QB for the Las Vegas Raiders against the Miami Dolphins today. So Gardner Minshew, of course, been in the league 5 years. He has now found a resting place uh, as well. He was the backup QB with the Raiders. Now he is the starting QB. And I don't know, Vince. What do you think about Gardner Minshew?
Well, I mean, let's not forget, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback just a year ago. I get it. The Pro Bowl's weak, whack, whatever you want to say. But he still made it to the Pro Bowl. Pretty big accomplishment. I'm going to tell you right now, Gardner Minshew should have been the quarterback all along. Aiden O'Connell, not the guy. Even when we were playing when we played them last year, he didn't play good. And part of that was because of the defense. I'm going to bring the defense back in the topic again because the defense needs to win. The reason, if we're going to win, it's the defense. It's the defense. But back to the quarterback discussion, I do think Gardner Minshew is the guy for this Raiders team without a doubt.
Yeah, and the other thing actually that I was about to bring up with the defense, 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions so far on the season. We need to take advantage of that because we have guys who can who can definitely
Lurk that ball. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
exactly. We have guys that can make interceptions happen, and I think
on paper, Andrew, this defense is amazing. But according to the game and the stats, whatever you want to say, have not been playing good. I mean, it really disappoints me how bad the team as a whole, but the defense in general has been playing because I overhyped the defense so much. Andrew, I don't know if you remember when I told you this. I thought the defense was going to be amazing. I really.
Yeah. And the other thing about Gardner Minshew, he has the second highest completion percentage of his career this year. And yeah, so I just think that he is going to be interesting. He's not a dual threat QB like we've seen the Dolphins struggle against the last couple of weeks because we saw that with Kyler Murray. That was an absolute mess. So I think that looking at Gardner Minshew, he is someone that the Dolphins defense can take care of if they play smart. So I don't think that he's going to be as big of an issue as Josh Allen or Matthew Stafford would be. And he certainly doesn't have the weapons that either of those quarterbacks have. So, hopefully, cross fingers that he will look good. Or, I mean, we'll be able to take advantage of him in this game later today. Tight end threat. Brock Bowers, of course, top pick in the 2024 NFL draft, and he is going to be the guy that the Dolphins need to figure out, especially because they lost Davante Adams. Brock Bowers is the main threat on this offense now, which is crazy to say because he is a rookie tight end.
Hold on. Davante Adams wasn't even that good with the Raiders.
Wow. Yeah.
But no, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So I just think that he's going to be someone that they need to figure out how to keep in check. We've struggled against the 2 tight end route like a lot of teams have been running. It doesn't look like they can even run 2 tight ends out there today because both of their backup tight ends are actually out for this game. But we saw Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox with the Bills caused a lot of trouble. So hopefully they can figure out how to keep him in check. And it's going to be all down to the linebackers pretty much to make that happen. And Davante Adams is gone. So you were saying that Davante Adams wasn't the main threat. We've seen that his targets have gone down significantly in the last couple of years. And of course, that's one of the reasons he wanted to get traded away. Do you think that him leaving is actually going to make a big difference in this game?
I wouldn't say so. I think regardless if they had Davante Adams or not, take a look at their record. Again, he was just given away just a couple weeks ago. The record doesn't, obviously it changed, but it doesn't look any different. They're still a losing team in the NFL. So, in my opinion, I don't think Davante Adams would have been a game changer, would have been, one of those guys that would have, changed everything. No, I really don't think. Like, Davante Adams, what I find crazy, and I mean, obviously I want to bring in the Jets into this discussion because he got traded to he was playing on a 3-7 team, got traded to a 3-7 team. I get he wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers, but that's crazy. I don't even know how he's satisfied right now. I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing would then be Jacoby Myers started to kind of take over as that wide receiver one as early as the beginning of this season anyway, because he showed that he just gets, I think, Antonio Pierce's game a little better. And I think that just the way that he's worked these last couple years have just outshined Devontae Adams in a lot of ways. So Jacoby Myers is going to be the main wide receiver threat out there, and then him and Brock Bowers are going to be the main receiver threats. I think that they're not necessarily guys that the Dolphins defense can't handle, which I think is good.
I don't think they should be worried. I don't. Again, Brock Bowers, hell of a player, but I don't think they should be worried. I mean, it's really like containing those two the entire game shouldn't be an issue because I get it. Alexander Madison, pretty lethal running back if you ask me. But I just think if you're going to guard those two, Alexander Madison's your only other issue. I mean, really, this defense should not have a hard game. And if we don't win this, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Andrew. I really don't know what to tell you. And I think it comes down to the discussion that maybe a top 5 pick is what we need. Maybe we need Shedeur Sanders. Maybe we need a new quarterback, Andrew. Maybe we need that.
Ooh.
This Dolphins team is just, yeah, I'm gonna say it, Andrew. What a disaster this team has been, man. Oh, jeez.
Ooh, I mean, that's interesting, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the wrap up at the end, because that's an interesting point. Let's take a look at the coaches real quick, because they're both young guys, well, younger guys that are trying to make a difference with how coaching works in the NFL. Mike McDaniels, his first couple seasons, was running all those trick plays, was running an interesting offense, and now he's kind of been figured out, so that's not great. Then Antonio Pierce, who took control last year and did figure out how to turn that team around the best he could at the end of last season. This season, struggling a ton. What do you think, though, Vince? We know Mike McDaniels needs to make some adjustments, but what do you think about Antonio Pierce?
Oh, I think Antonio Pierce is one of the best coaches in the NFL. Ask me, listen, I just think he's so well-rounded as a coach. I think his mindset going into every game, I get it. They're 3-7. Whoa, let me see this real quick. 2-7.
2-7, yeah.
But I just don't think that this Raiders team is that bad. I mean, I get it. Their record is worse than ours, but I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. In my opinion, I think he's always been. But yeah, I mean, let me talk about Mike McDaniels real quick. He is not the same coach these last 2 years. He's not the same coach from San Francisco. This year has been a mess, record-wise, playing style-wise, it's just everything. And I think it starts with Mike McDaniels. Because let me mention about Tua real quick. We talk about Tua. He plays good under Nick Saban, one of the best coaches in football history, without a doubt, right? He plays good with him. With Brian Flores, flukes, all right? With Mike McDaniels, he's a MVP mentioned quarterback. I mean, let's be honest. He was up there for the MVP race. Downhill now. Mike McDaniels, like you said, has been solved out. His offense is now one of the most, run styles in the NFL. And in my opinion, I don't think it's just his style of coaching found out. And I don't think that he's going to be able to be the most unique coach as he was these last couple of years. I said he was going to be the coach of the year, and I apologize for that, Andrew. I really apologize for saying that. Because what a disaster. What a disaster. Just
yeah.
Really.
I mean, before the season, Vince was hyping up the fact that, we lost these guys, but we got Odell Beckham Jr. Now we have the best wide receiver core in football.
Listen, coming to the year, I thought this Dolphins team was going to be able to live up to expectations. I thought we were going to get a first-round bye going to the playoffs. I thought we were going to have to go back to Kansas City. Damn, we're not even going to make the playoffs this year, for all I know. I mean, what? Oh, my God. Just what a disaster.
Vince comes back to talk Miami sports.
Last time I was on something talking about sports, I was hyping up the Dolphins saying they were going to win the Super Bowl. Andrew, I still have the Super Bowl trophy up there. I'm not going to go up and take it down because no Dolphins fan needs to deserve to see that. Oh my God. I don't think I'm seeing one in my lifetime.
David saying, tell it, Vince, in the chat. I think that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really true. Really true.
Yeah.
As a Dolphins fan my whole life, let me be honest with you. I haven't been watching that much Dolphins football recently. Because I don't feel the joy, the pride. I mean, come on. I cried when we lost in the playoffs these last 2 years. And this year, what is there to cry about? What a disaster. Give us the top 5 pick already, and I'll be happy. Shedeur Sanders. Hit on my line.
I mean, I think that the biggest issue was Dolphins fans went into the season with high expectations.
I mean, that's the
I mean,
true reality of it. Everyone did.
Yeah.
I don't care if you kind of like the Dolphins or if you like them a lot. I mean, at least for me, and I know football. I know a lot about it. Some people were like, "Oh, well, we have the best receiving core in football." I said that too, but that wasn't my main point. I really did think going to this year, with what we did in free agency, oh my God, man, this defense looked so good on paper, so good, and the fact that it's all in shambles right now drives me crazy. Like it drives me nuts. And you would think like, oh, Jalen Ramsey's on the defense, right? You think that defense would be amazing. No, they're not a good defense. Like it just, oh my God, Andrew, it's hard to talk about this. It's hard.
It's just the reality of the team right now. This team is like, okay, if you were to tell someone a couple years ago, like watching college football, that Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Waddle will get the team up in the NFL, and then you have Jalen Ramsey on the defense, and you have all these guys coming together to make this super team, and this is what we end up with.
Oh, you would think we would be the best team in the NFL. Let's be honest.
I mean, it's terrible. I don't even know what to say. I think that, again, there needs to be adjustments, and we've talked about this. It's just how the mighty have fallen. We're talking about Mike McDaniels being one of the best coaches, the smartest coaches in football last year,
And
where he
I
is
think it
now.
starts there.
We're talking about Tua Tagovailoa coming back from his injuries the last couple of years to potentially be one of the greatest quarterbacks in football. That's not happening either. It's all in shambles. You were 100% right. Everything you said, I agree with, and everything you said, I think Dolphins fans everywhere can agree with.
Well, I don't think you agreed with what I said at the beginning of the year. I'm not even going to repeat.
Oh, well, yeah.
But no, I know. Of course, everyone would agree with what I have to say because it's true.
Yeah.
It's the reality of it. It's a reality check. This Dolphins, I guess, every Dolphins fan was getting hyped up saying we were going to win the Super Bowl, this and that, this and that. You know, what a disaster it has been, and I'm in disbelief.
Yeah.
And also, and I think it starts with Tua health issues. I think it starts with him, his mentality, wanting to play, be good, because you can choose to not be good. I mean, obviously being in the NFL, you want to be amazing, but Tua, in my opinion, I don't think he wants to be there. Like that's why I say Shedeur Sanders hit on my line, because honestly, I think we need a new quarterback. Andrew. I don't know about you. I'm done with Tua. I know at the beginning of the year I said he was going to win the MVP. I'm not even going to repeat it. I thought he was going to win the MVP. I really did. Forget about that now. Hit on my line, Shedeur. Hit on my line, Quinn Ewers. Come on. Jackson Dart. Come on. Win for that call.
I mean, okay, so I want to point out something David also said in the chat. Beating bad teams and squeaking into the playoffs is not good enough for me. Would you rather get the satisfaction of going back to the playoffs this year and losing first or second round, or
getting Shedeur Sanders, baby?
Okay, yeah. So that's the answer. And I want to hear everyone else's opinions in the chat as well. What do you want? Do you want a top 5 pick and just be in misery for the rest of the season, or do you want to squeak into the playoffs and maybe win a single game and then be done?
I know my answer.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
I think it's an amazing question, Andrew, because really, playoffs or an amazing new quarterback to replace Tua. Now, the only thing I have against Tua is I think he's going to be one of, say we do end up letting him go, I do think he's going to be good. That's just a little bit of it's a little bit of hypocritical, but in my opinion, but I do think he's going to be good.
But even if you let him go, how much are you paying him? Got to be well, of course it's millions, but it's going to be a lot of money. So that's, I think, the only reason why people would say, let's just keep going with Tua, because now you signed him to that massive extension last year. And yeah, so I don't really know. I think that the route is probably going to be going for a pick. I just don't know if it's going to be a QB that they're going to end up with.
Yeah.
But
in my opinion, I just think we need everything, and it really comes down to really the offensive line. Like even if you dislike or like Tua, the offensive line is where it starts, and the reason why Tua is not going to be able to scramble for the rest of his career, or we're going to be able to stay in the pocket for like 10 seconds is because of the offensive line. At least on this Dolphins team. I don't know wherever else he goes. That's up to him. But on this Dolphins team, he's not going to be able to do anything mobility-wise because he doesn't know how to be careful. And wait, I want to ask you a question, though. Do you think he should have done the Guardian cap? That's a real question. I've seen that all over Instagram, and I was like, what is he doing? He's had, 3 concussions in the last 2-3 years?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know. I think it's more about his ego. He's like, I'm tough. I'm here to play football.
He's not. He's one of the weakest quarterbacks in the National Football League, Andrew. Let's talk about it.
So my question back to the draft thing is, what position can you realistically draft besides quarterback? You can't just go out there and draft a wide receiver because you're supposed to have one of the best wide receiver cores in football. You can't go out there and draft.
I don't think it's the wide receiver. I don't think we should go. Wide receiver now.
So, and everyone's saying Greer needs to be gone because Greer is the one who would be trusted with making that top 5 pick.
I don't really want to comment on the general manager point. Quite honestly, I just think, Greer makes the decisions. He calls the shots, but in my opinion, I think it's more of a, I don't know. Like this team is just such a disaster, Andrew. He calls the shots, but he's not going to do anything. I don't think he has the strength to go out and get another quarterback. I don't think he wants to go out and get another quarterback. I think he wants to stay with Tua because, Tua's going to be good. Just trust the process. No, we're done with the process. The process is 3 years. We're unlike the Cowboys sticking with Dak Prescott. We're not like that. We want a new quarterback in this system. Because, look, and especially with Mike McDaniel's offense, we're very hyperactive, running around. Yeah, we use the running back a lot, but it's running game offense. It's a running game heavy offense with a little bit of passing. And I do think Tua's not going to be able to run. If we want a kind of fast quarterback, go out and get one then, Greer. Come on. We already have been talking about this for years, and no one listened to us. No one listened to any Dolphins fans.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's finally just coming to light, the fact that this team needs help.
No, it's reality. And that's where it comes down to. It's reality. And I do think this Dolphins team needs to really like lock in.
Yeah. I mean, ever since the first couple of head coaching changes a couple of years ago, just the management of this team has been going downhill. Yeah. I just think from that point, it hasn't gotten better. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill.
McDaniels hasn't been bad. I love McDaniels. I said he was going to win Coach of the Year. I'm so sorry for saying that again. But no, I thought he was going to win Coach of the Year. I thought, because listen, if you really take a look at their scheme of offense, the play style they do is amazing. McDaniels is one of the most intelligent head coaches in football, regardless if he's an offensive coordinator, offensive-minded head coach, whatever you want to say. I know he's a head coach, but whatever you want to say, he's offensive-minded. I get it, but he's so intelligent, and the fact that we just can't do anything. And you can put the blame on him, but I think who I want to put the blame on is him and Tua. Come on, I think it's both of them.
Yeah.
Regardless if the defense does good or not, I get it. We lost Vic Fangio in the offseason, but I'm gonna put the blame on those two specifically.
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing is, I think if we get an average draft pick, like 15, you take a offensive lineman.
I mean, I agree with you, but also, but that's where the discussion of coaching comes back into, because then also defense is a worry. I mean, how is Jalen Phillips, man?
Like Will Campbell from LSU.
Oh,
or Kelvin Banks.
I mean, I think defense or offensive line is really the issue. Or say we're top 5, get a quarterback.
Yeah, I think top 5 you're not going
to
tackle. Yeah. Yeah. But let's talk about this Dolphins team for today.
I mean, hold on. I mean, you could be the Giants, but you could be the Giants and get like one of the worst offensive linemen, and Evan Neal in the top 10 pick.
Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about the Dolphins for today, though. Biggest issue, Teron Armstead is questionable.
Just
I'm actually gonna check right now if there's any new reports on what's going on with him for today. Oh, he is active. Great. That's big. That's big. We need that. I assume he's still gonna be getting limited reps with him being, of course, questionable before this game, but he is active and he is going to be out there, which is definitely going to be huge. Kendall Fuller is out, and guards Robert Jones and Isaiah Wynn are questionable. I assume they're both going to play, but
I mean, if they're both out, that's going to be a big hit, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
we need every offensive line we have, man. We need the offensive line to come in to play.
Exactly. Let's talk about some roster moves. First one, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when the trade deadline was approaching. David Long Jr. He did not end up getting traded, but they immediately waived him pretty much a couple weeks later, and the Finns picked up tight end Jack Stoll off of the waivers.
Another tight end, Andrew. What do you think about that? Because I think we're fine with Smythe. I think we should have kept David Long Jr. all along, but that's just my opinion. But I think getting another tight end, to me personally, is not the right move. But what do you think? Tight
end is just not the problem right now.
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
I mean, if you want a blocking tight end, go ahead, Dolphins. If that's what you want, then go get it. But I think we need everything, receiving or blocking.
I think there's bigger problems.
Bigger gaps to fill.
I think Jack Stoll is a good pickup, but it's not what we needed most. Getting rid of David Long
is not the way to go. I'll tell you that.
All right. And also they elevated long snapper Tucker Addington and tackle Jackson Carmen to the active roster. Good, another tackle. Great. And a long snapper. I think we could use some more support in other areas, but it's okay. It's okay. And let's check out some Dolphins keys to the game. Keep Gardner Minshew in check and keep pressure on him every single play. This defense last week looked good. This defense can get pressure on him. He's throwing a pick. I'm calling it right now. He's throwing a pick in this game. If he doesn't, that's an issue for this defense. Yeah.
Well, he has 8 on the year? Mm-hmm. It's definitely a possibility. But with Kendall Fuller out, that's an issue. That's an issue. I'm telling you right now, injuries, coaching, and whatever you want to say has been the issues. I think it's really injuries, though. I think it's really injuries. Because look, Jalen Phillips is out for the rest of the year. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So but I mean, coming back to that key of the game, rushing the quarterback, maybe shouldn't be that hard of an issue. But without Phillips, that's gonna be where a problem comes into play. But I think Zach Seither's got it.
Yeah. And David saying it's crazy with our offense and all of our weapons. We're calling for the defense to win this game.
Well, I mean,
it is crazy. Yeah.
I mean, defense should always win games. I mean, regardless.
I don't know. Keep Bowers in check. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Bowers and Jacoby Myers will throw them in there as well. Those are pretty much their two main receiving threats.
If you want to say main,
they're just there.
I mean, Brock Bowers is going to be one of the best tight ends, and I think, in my opinion, one of the best tight ends in football eventually. I think he's just growing.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, yeah.
Wait, hold on. What's up with Michael Mayer? What's going on with him? I haven't heard about that guy since Notre Dame.
Yeah, well.
Oh, my God. Well, let me ask you something. I know this is obviously Dolphins, but what do you think about getting another tight end in the draft, Andrew?
No. Well, again, depends on what pick we end up with. If we're tanking, just take the QB. I think if we win this game, that kind of removes the chance of getting a top 5 pick. And we should win this game. If we don't win this game, that's an even bigger issue. But tight end, I don't know. There's a lot to consider. I think offensive line is going to be our most pressing issue if we end up around like a 500 team and we end up with like 15th, 16th, 17th pick like we had last year.
Yeah.
So I don't know about tight end. I don't know. I haven't really seen too much tight end talent on the boards anyway.
Yeah.
That would be available in that position. I'm not seeing anything.
I mean, I think it really comes down to offense. But again, anything is possible. We need anything, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
Huh.
not even seeing on a lot of these mock drafts any tight ends taken in the first round.
Yes.
So I don't think tight end maybe later in the draft maybe, but third key to the game, Tua needs to continue to play smart, get out of the pocket early, especially with Crosby coming at you, and don't focus on the deep ball, move the chains. That's the biggest issue. Tua and Jalen Waddle.
Oh Jesus, that's not gonna happen, Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you right now, Andrew. He doesn't know how to play football. Tua hasn't been good since 2022. I was in 6th grade. He hasn't been playing that good. And that's when he had his major concussion. I still think he played better that year, and he's been playing these last 2 years. He's not smart, though.
I think that
that's just my opinion. I just don't think he's going to be smart.
I think the other issue is Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. They've only been used to Tua chucking them deep balls and just scoring 80-yard touchdowns. That doesn't work anymore.
It's not going to
Do
work.
we even throw that far anymore?
I don't think so. Well, I mean, to give him credit, though, he had one of the most beautiful throws in college football history to Devontae Smith. So. But still, deep balls, definitely not the way to go. I wouldn't even run. Don't even run a throw at this point. So what's the point of being the quarterback? That's why I think we should go out and get prime time. Let's get Shador.
Yeah.
Kiss that watch.
Yeah. Coach Smart as well. Defense was on point last week. Need the same for this week. We're calling for the defense again. We're going to keep saying it. If the coaching is good, we're going to win games. We have one of the best teams in football on paper.
Yeah, on paper.
Use them right.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the motto. That's the motto. That's the motto we should have been using this whole year, Andrew. Whole year. And we haven't been doing it.
And last thing that we actually haven't talked about at all, Raiders have given up, I think, an average of 130 rushing yards per game. I mean, we have 2 running backs who can do that. So please,
don't count out Jalen Wright.
Please, Mike McDaniels, can you use them a little bit? that would be great. I think that's another. We just need to find the exploits. Instead of trying to create our own exploits for ourselves. I don't know if anyone just understood what I just said, but it's like we need to see the issues that these other teams have and use them instead of us trying to do our trick plays and stuff like that and making up the exploits ourselves. I think I actually think that kind of makes sense. Vince, any final keys to the game? And everyone in the chat, let us know what you're thinking for the game today before we head out.
I think it's really the defense, Andrew. I know I've said this the whole time. The defense wins championships, it wins you games, and it sure will win us the game today. So let's go out there and win. And come on, defense, just be strong. That's all I'm asking for. As a Dolphins fan that hasn't seen a Super Bowl trophy in my entire lifetime, just go out there and win.
Yeah, and let's go back to the question we asked earlier. Would you rather have playoffs or top 5 pick? We don't trust Greer with the top 5 pick.
So I agree with that one.
Yeah. Keep Tua and make it to the playoff or get Sanders from Colorado. So that's a little bit that's in the middle. Yeah. So I think that it's going to be interesting. Again, if we win the game today, I think top 5 pick might be out the window.
Yeah. I mean, it really does keep our playoff chances alive. But I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it, Andrew, if I was you.
Yeah. It's going to be a beautiful day out there in South Florida. Like I said, 80 degrees, sunny out your window, Vince.
It's a little cloudy.
Well, I guess does that help us?
No, but it's like dark clouds. It's not even like white. It's like this little gloom.
Well,
Sunday, Miami. Hey, listen, it rains for 10 minutes and it won't the next 10 minutes. So
yeah. Well, games on CBS today. Check out all of the stuff on DolphinsTalk.com. That's going to be coming after the game. We are going to have your wrap up with Mike after the game. You're going to have all of your articles out there. So check out DolphinsTalk.com. Thank you, Caneswear, again for the message at the beginning of this episode. And thank you, everyone in the chat who joined us. David, Randy, Tommy, Eric, Armando, all of these guys who came and joined us today. Thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you, JJ, who, although he couldn't be on, he produced this episode for us today. So thank you to him. And thank you so much, Vince, for joining me. Your rants were great. And I think that you share a lot of the same sentiments as a lot of other Dolphins fans out there. So any final words, Vince?
Shador.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. And maybe JJ and I will be on later this week. Have a good one, everyone. Enjoy the game.